Hare Krishna. Krishna. Okay. So today we're going to be reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text number 6. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Dana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Natira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Dana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Dava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Jnana-Timirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakjurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitanyena Bhutaye Swayam Swayam Rupa Kadadmayam Dadati Swa Padantikam. Vandiham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragana Tam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadavetam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we're reading from chapter 18, text number 6. And Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Before we begin, I'd like to request the blessings of all the assembled devotees and also to those who may be listening online. If you could please give me your blessings so I might be able to speak something worthwhile. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so, Etanyapi tu karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyanti me partha nischitam matam uttamam. Okay, so etanyapi tu karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha Kartavyanyaniti me partha Nischitam matam uttamam. Etanyapi tu karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyaniti me partha nishchitam matam uttamam. So, I wonder if anyone would like to have a go with the recitation. Oh, thank you, Boo. Etanyapi tu karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyaniti me partha nishchitam matam uttamam. Okay. So, and the translation. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Pritha. That is my final opinion. And one more time. All these activities should be performed without attachment. Oh, okay. Maybe you can repeat as well. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Pritha. That is my final opinion. And the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although all sacrifices are purifying, one should not expect any result by such performances. In other words, all sacrifices which are meant for material advancement in life should be given up. But sacrifices that purify one's existence and elevate one to the spiritual plane should not be stopped. Everything that leads to Krishna consciousness must be encouraged. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also it is said that any activity which leads to devotional service to the Lord should be accepted. That is the highest criterion of religion. A devotee of the Lord should accept any kind of work, sacrifice or charity which will help him in the discharge of devotional service to the Lord. So this is a nice verse that we're reading from today, and it's basically saying that no matter what we do, no matter what sacrifice we perform, it has to be centered on devotional service to Krishna. So when I think of the world that we live in, many people, they do austerities, they may give in charity and so on, but is this actually related to Krishna, and will it actually advance them in their consciousness to becoming more actually Krishna conscious and closer to God overall? But I can see that like many people, they give in charity also, and this is actually even philanthropists. Srila Prabhupada, he mentions in the Nectar of Instruction that it might seem like a harsh statement, but he said if people are actually just giving, even building hospitals and things which are very much in the mode of goodness, like good work for society, but if this is ultimately sense gratification, if it doesn't actually lead, if there's nothing which is actually centered around actually developing our consciousness, because if we don't actually become more Krishna conscious, and then everything is actually will go to waste. So the root of everything and the root of all suffering is actually a lack of Krishna consciousness. So that's the actual, at the essence, and the highest welfare work is actually giving Krishna consciousness to others, because that's how we can actually mitigate all suffering. So Krishna gives us suffering in the form of the material nature to actually make us question why is this happening, to actually make us contemplate and to actually come closer to Krishna ultimately. It's said in the Padma Purana that the golden rule is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And everything, all other rules are actually subservient to this. So if we actually perform a sacrifice, like a farmer who will be like reaping a harvest, that this is actually by the Lord's mercy, and ultimately the Lord is the supplier of everything. It says in the Sri Upanishad that everything actually belongs in this world to the Lord, and we should not take more than which is destined for us, which is our quota, because knowing well to who things belong. So I'd like to actually read from the Krishna book. This is a story which is very relevant to this subject matter. And so this is chapter 23 of the Krishna book. Delivering the wives of the Brahmanas who perform sacrifices. Okay. I wonder if there's any questions before we start. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You said the highest welfare goal
Yes.
is giving Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Why that is the highest welfare?
Okay. So I'll just repeat the question. So the question is, why is Krishna giving Krishna consciousness to people the highest welfare work? So when we actually look at our welfare and what's actually our highest welfare, and it is to become Krishna conscious, because people are actually suffering due to a lack of knowledge, without actual proper understanding of the scriptures and knowledge. This is how they actually become entangled in like material nature, and they accrue all sorts of problems.
What is the problem?
Because they're entangled in material nature, they have many different problems, which is like
So don't we need to sort out the material problems?
well,
Giving in charity, for
um,
hungry,
yeah,
homeless.
yeah.
Don't we need to sort that out?
No, because that's the point. If we let's just say if we have a homeless person on the street, and he may be an alcoholic, so if we simply try and give him money, or some sort of charity, he may spend it. But even if he does actually get, even if we send him to a rehabilitation, and he becomes free from that problem, but then it's still ultimately he's still in this material world, in this bondage, and what's the point of life in that sense?
So
Yeah.
for a hungry person or a homeless person, if you give them Krishna consciousness, then it solves their problems.
Yes,
Uh,
because if you give someone actually Krishna conscious, to become Krishna conscious, the Lord will actually take care of them as well. All the suffering we see in the world is due to a lack of Krishna conscious. It's not just like random suffering. It's due to actually ignorance that people are in these positions. It's due to the lack of actually understanding. This is how they become into these positions. So ultimately, to get them free and not to be able to never actually come back to that position. They need to actually have the understanding of Krishna consciousness, a scriptural understanding.
So what do you do with their with their empty stomach?
Well, that's what has to be done. It has to be the actual. We have to start from the actual source, ultimately. If everyone is actually puts their priority on actually just simply feeding, like feeding the homeless and so on. No, that's good as well, but the main thing is that we actually impart Krishna consciousness onto them. Even in that sense, we can give them Krishna prasadam, which we do, but the main point is that they actually ultimately develop Krishna consciousness, which is to actually, to uplift their consciousness, because it was actually His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. He just quotes this. He said that he met with Mother Teresa in Calcutta, and just a statement that she said to him that the real hunger in this world is lack of, God consciousness or Krishna consciousness, because everything which we see is due to all these situations which take place are due to a consciousness which is materially inclined and rooted in material attachment. When one becomes actually attached and then to Krishna, and then Krishna will actually take care of everything, and we won't see the suffering will be fail to actually cease to exist, because we'll go straight to the root of suffering. If we look at the Vedic cultures or the cultures in the past, they were completely problem-free. They had an abundance of everything. They were completely. There was no suffering like that, even in Yudhishthira's time or Lord Ramachandra. It was mentioned, like, if someone even had a cold or a flu or something, or a sickness, if someone passed away, like, there's such minute things which we wouldn't see as such a big deal, but then they would question those things, because, like, suffering was so minute in that time.
So from what you said, I understood that all other welfare activities, it's like you gave the analogy of watering the root.
Yeah.
All other welfare activities is just watering the leaves and branches, so it's not having much effect, and it's also very short-lived. But if we water the root, then the whole tree will flourish. So you're saying that giving Krishna consciousness to people is like watering the root.
Yes.
If your problems, as a side effect, you will give the result.
Yes, exactly. It's just to repeat Mataji Mehta's comment as well about what I mentioned about watering the root of the tree. So when one does actually what's described as like charity and philanthropic work, this is like simply watering the branches and the leaves. It won't have really much effect on the actual tree itself, because to actually water the root is to change our consciousness to become Krishna conscious, and then that will affect everything. Everything else will be nourished. Yeah.
I just found something Prabhupada has said exactly what you mentioned. Can I read that?
Yes, please.
It's chapter 5, verse 25.
I can get you a microphone. I'll be.
Oh. No, you read it. You read it.
Okay. Okay.
It talks about the welfare work.
Okay, thank you. So this is from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text 25. So this will explain in terms of this actual topic. Only a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities. When a person is actually in the knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. The sufferings of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend. Therefore, to act to revive this consciousness within the entire human society is the highest welfare work. One cannot be engaged in such first-class welfare work without being liberated in the Supreme. A Krishna-conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of Krishna. He has no doubt because he is completely freed from all sins. This is the state of divine love. Thank you, Maji. So Srila Prabhupada also speaks about all these different yogis and spiritualists of many different varieties, and when they're not actually Krishna conscious, and they haven't become Krishna conscious, they resort to philanthropic work as well, like philanthropy and all these things. But in terms of actually Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Laxman Hanuman ki, Gauranitai ki. Jai. So as I was mentioning that they resort to building all these the hospitals and all this philanthropic work, and this naturally will receive a lot of appreciation by the society, but this doesn't actually lead to a lasting change. The actual lasting change is if someone actually changes their consciousness. So that's the point. No matter how much hospitals, like food shelters, homeless shelters, and so on, these are reactive to problems, but it's not a proactive approach to problems. So this is simply just that things are going wrong, and we'll provide these to help facilitate that or try and help that, but it's not going to actually go to the root and change things and have a lasting impact in the long term. And in fact, it will, if the root problem isn't addressed, then if people aren't in practicing Krishna consciousness, if they're not engaged in devotional service, and then naturally their consciousness is going to degrade in terms of entanglements. They're going to become more and more attached to material energy, material things, and this will actually to create more and more problems within society. As we can see in society today that they're trying to find all these different solutions, which is like it's like air bubbles on a rug. When you step somewhere, and then it will pop up somewhere else. So it just doesn't go away. That's the issue. Yeah. I wonder if there's any more questions. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to read a bit from Delivering the Wives of the Brahmanas Who Perform Sacrifices. This is from chapter 23 of Krishna book. The morning passed, and the cowherd boys were very hungry because they had not eaten breakfast. They immediately approached Krishna and Balaram and said, "Dear Krishna and Balaram, you are both all-powerful. You can kill many, many demons, but today we are much afflicted with hunger, and this is disturbing us. Please arrange for something that will mitigate our hunger." Requested in this way by their friends, Lord Krishna and Balaram arranged to show compassion to certain wives of Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices. These wives were great devotees of the Lord, and Krishna took this opportunity to bless them. He said, "My dear friends, please go to the house of the Brahmanas nearby. They are now engaged in performing Vedic sacrifices known as Angirasa. for they desire elevation to the heavenly planets. All of you please go to them. Then Lord Krishna warned his friends, these Brahmanas are not Vaishnavas. They cannot even chant our names, Krishna and Balaram. They are very busy in chanting the Vedic hymns, although the purpose of Vedic knowledge is to find me. But because they are not attracted by the names of Krishna and Balaram, you had better not ask them for anything in my name. Better ask for some charity in the name of Balaram. Charity is generally given to high-class Brahmanas, but Krishna and Balaram did not appear in a Brahmana family. Balaram was known as the son of Vasudeva, a Kshatriya, and Krishna was known in Vrindavan as the son of Nanda Maharaj, who was a Vaishya. Neither belonged to the Brahmana community. Therefore, Krishna considered that the Brahmanas engaged in performing sacrifices might not be induced to give charity to a Kshatriya and Vaishya. But at least, if you utter the name of Balaram, they may prefer to give in charity to a Kshatriya rather than to me, because I am only a Vaishya. Being thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the boys went to the Brahmanas and began to ask for some charity. They approached them with folded hands and fell down on the ground to offer respect. O earthly gods, kindly heroes, who are ordered by Lord Krishna and Balaram, we hope you know them both very well, and we wish you all good fortune. Krishna and Balaram are tending cows nearby, and we have accompanied them. We have come to ask for some food from you. You are all Brahmanas and knowers of religious principles, and if you think that you should give us charity, then give us some food, and we shall all eat along with Krishna and Balaram. You are the most respectable Brahmanas within the human society, and you are expected to know all the principles of religious procedure. Although the boys were village boys and were not expected to be learned in all the Vedic principles of religious ritual, they hinted that because of their association with Krishna and Balaram, they knew all those principles. By addressing the Brahmanas as knowers of all religious principles, the boys expressed the point of view that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Balaram, were asking for food, the Brahmanas should immediately deliver some without hesitation, because as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, one should perform yagya, sacrifices, only for the satisfaction of Vishnu. So that's the point in this verse, that Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Krishna. So all sacrifices should be actually performed towards Krishna. So this is a mistake in terms of the Brahmanas. If they're not willing to give, they're just attached to the sacrifices of the Vedas, but they're missing the whole point, that all these Vedic sacrifices are aimed at actually pleasing Krishna, and then that's it shows a lack of actual understanding. So the boys continued, Lord Vishnu, as Krishna and Balaram, is standing waiting, and you should immediately deliver whatever food you have in your stock. They also explained to the Brahmanas when food is to be accepted and when it is not to be accepted. Generally, the Vaishnavas, or pure devotees of the Lord, do not take part in ordinary sacrificial performances, but they know very well the ceremonials called Diksha, Pashu-shamsta, and Satrumani. One is permitted to take food after the procedure of Diksha and before the animal sacrificial ceremony, and the Sutramani, or ceremony in which liquors are also offered. The boy said, we can take your food at the present stage of your ceremony, for now it will not be prohibited, so you can deliver us the food. Although the companions of Lord Krishna and Balaram were simple cowherd boys, they were in a position to dictate even to the high-class Brahmanas engaged in the Vedic rituals of sacrifice. But the smarta Brahmanas, who were simply sacrificial-minded, could not understand the dictation of the transcendental devotees of the Lord. They could not even appreciate the begging of the Supreme Lord Krishna and Balaram. Although they heard all the arguments on behalf of Krishna and Balaram, they did not care for them, and they refused to speak to the boys. Despite being highly elevated in the knowledge of Vedic sacrificial rites, all such non-devotee Brahmanas, although they think of themselves as very highly elevated, are ignorant, foolish persons. All their activities are childish, because they do not know the purpose of the Vedas, as it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. To understand Krishna, in spite of their advancement in Vedic knowledge and rituals, They do not understand Krishna, therefore their knowledge of the Vedas is useless. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, gave his valuable opinion that although a person may not be born in a Brahmana family, if he knows Krishna or the science of Krishna consciousness, he is more than a Brahmana and is quite fit to become a spiritual master. There are various details to be observed in the performance of sacrifices. They are known as Desha, place, Kala, time, Pritag, Dravya, the different detailed paraphernalia, mantra, hymns, tantra, scriptural evidences, Agni, fire, Ritvik, learned performers of sacrifices, Devata, the demigods, Yajamana, the performer of the sacrifices, Kretu, the sacrifice itself, and Dharma, the procedures. All these are for satisfying Krishna. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that he is the actual enjoyer of all sacrifices because he is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supreme Absolute Truth. Okay, so just due to time, I'm going to just go forward a bit. And after the Brahmanas, they didn't give the offerings to Krishna because they didn't understand that Krishna's position and that he should be the center of the offering. So then Krishna's friends, the cowherd boys, they approached the wives of the Brahmanas who were devotees of Krishna. And he said, "Dear mothers, please accept our humble obeisances and hear our statement. May we inform you that Lord Krishna and Balaram are nearby. They have come here with the cows, and you may know also that we have come here under their instructions. All of us are very hungry. Therefore we have come to you for some food. Please give us something to eat for Krishna, Balaram, and ourselves." Immediately upon hearing this, the wives of the Brahmanas became anxious for Krishna and Balaram. Their reactions were spontaneous. They did not have to be convinced of the importance of Krishna and Balaram. Immediately upon hearing their names, they became very eager to see them. Being advanced by thinking of Krishna constantly, they were performing the greatest form of mystic meditation. All the wives then became very busily engaged in filling up different pots with nice food. Due to the performance of the sacrifice, the various foods were all very palatable. After collecting a feast, they prepared to go to Krishna, their most beloved object, exactly in the way rivers flow to the sea. For a long time the wives had been eager to see Krishna. However, when they were preparing to leave home to go see him, their husbands, fathers and sons and relatives asked them not to go, but the wives did not comply. When a devotee is called by the attraction of Krishna, he does not care for bodily ties. The woman entered the forest of Vrindavan on the bank of the Yamuna, which was verdant with vegetation and newly grown vines and flowers. Within the forest they saw Krishna and Balaram engaged in tending the cows, along with their very affectionate boyfriends. The Brahmana's wife saw Krishna with a blackish complexion, wearing a garment that glittered like gold. He wore a nice garland of forest flowers and a peacock feather on his head. He was also painted with the minerals found in Vrindavan, and he looked exactly like a dancing actor on a theatrical stage. They saw him resting one hand on the shoulder of his friend, and in his other hand he was holding a lotus flower. His ears were decorated with lilies. He wore marks of tilak. He was smiling charmingly. With their very eyes, the wives of the Brahmanas saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of whom they had heard so much, and who was so dear to them, and in whom their minds were always absorbed. Now they saw him eye to eye, face to face, and Krishna entered within their hearts through their eyes. Within themselves they began to embrace Krishna to their heart's content, and the distress of separation was mitigated immediately. They were just like great sages, who by their advancement of knowledge merge into the existence of the Supreme. As the super soul living in everyone's heart, Lord Krishna could understand their minds. They had come to him in despite all the protests of their relatives, fathers, husbands, and brothers, and despite all the duties of household affairs. They came just to see him, who was their life and soul. They were exactly following Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita. One should surrender to him, giving up all varieties of occupational and religious duties. Okay, so I wonder if there's any questions anymore. Okay, so I just wanted to mention also that in terms of everyone has a different nature. So, as was mentioned about the Brahmanas, the Vaishyas, the Sudras, and so on, like that. But everyone can actually engage their nature in Krishna consciousness. So Krishna says, "Whatever you do it for me." In the Bhagavad Gita, he explains. So this is what Srila Prabhupada was also emphasizing as well, that whatever talents we have, um, as it was mentioned in this morning's class, about the interest of making movies in Krishna consciousness. But whatever, if one is like that way inclined, whatever talents they have, whether it's to in the arts, in literature, science, everything, um, it can be done as a glorification of Krishna and for Krishna's service. And even in one's day-to-day life, they can do it as an offering to Krishna, and that's the way of being Krishna conscious. That it's described like one may go to a factory and they do their daily duties, and then another person may go to the same factory and do the same thing, but there's a big difference, because if one is actually just simply there and doing the same thing, but it's for their own enjoyment, and it's not going to actually deepen their attachment to Krishna. So even though it's the exact same thing, if we're actually focused on the goal, which is actually how we can become closer to Krishna, and just that we're working, why we're working to simply, whether we have family obligations, or we have to support ourselves, but simply just so we can ultimately become more Krishna conscious. Okay, so just before we finish up, I wonder if there's any more questions. Thank you. Okay, Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki, Krishna book ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Jai Krishna.
in 5 minutes.
जय जय गौरा चन्दे आरतीको शोभा कि बजयो कि बजयो जय गौरा चन्दे आरतीको शोभा जानाभि तत्त्वनि जग मन लोभा जाना जानाभि तत्त्वनि जग मन लोभा दुखीनेली पहचान मामी गदाधारा दुखीनेली पहचान मामी गदाधारा निकटे अद्वैता श्रीनि वास छत्रधारा निकटे अद्वैता निकटे अद्वैता श्रीनि वास छत्रधारा বাজে ঘন্টা বাজে বাজে করতালা বাজে ঘন্টা বাজে বাজে করতালা মাধুরা মৃদঙ্গা বাজে परम रसाला मधुरा मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला चंद्रदीनी वदन उज्ज्वला कोटि चंद्रदीनी वदन उज्ज्वला माला देसे बनमाला पूरे झलमाला गाला गाला देसे बनमाला पूरे झलमाला शिवा सुख नारद प्रेमे गदगद शिवा सुख नारद प्रेमे गदगद भक्ति विनोदा देखे गोरा रसंपादा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गोरा रसंपादा शिव जय जय गौरा चांदे आरती को शोभा शिव जय जय गौरा चांदे आरती को शोभा जाना भी तत्वने जग मन लोभा जाना गौरांगे आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरा आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरांगे आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा मन लोभा गौरांगे आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरांगे आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गोसाई गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौरा हरि बोल निताई गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौरा हरि बोल नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमः नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी अश्यता देशतारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौरा भक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौरा भक्तवृंद Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokul Nanda Radha Gokul Nanda Radha Gokul Nanda Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Jaya Gaurani Thai Jaya Gaurani Thai Jaya Gaurani Thai Jaya Gaurani Thai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जी की जय श्री गौर निताई की जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय We will do the pranam mantra for our acharyas. So when I will say ki, then you can say jai. So जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवार राजाकाचार्य अष्टोता सत्य श्रीमद श्री हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस AC भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवार राजाकाचार्य अष्टोता सत्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्रीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय नवदीप धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadaine. Hiranyakashipu rakshaha. Shiladankanathalaye. Ito nashimho parato nashimho. Yato yato yamitato nashimho. Bahe nashimho hridaye nashimho. Narsimhamadim sharanam prapade. Tavakara kamalavare nakam adhuta shingam galita hiranyakashipu danabringa yashavadita narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jayana Shingare, Jayana Shingare, Jayana Shingare, Jayana Shingare. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Shingadev Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitya Gaura Pramanande.